Ravi was not the type of person who looked for adventure. He worked as a technician on Orbital Station 12, a huge ring floating above a quiet trade route. His job was simple. He repaired small machines, checked systems, and made sure nothing caught fire or exploded. Most days were the same. Wires, circuits, greasy hands, and long hours. Life on the station was safe but boring. The traders who passed through told great stories about battles, hidden planets, and treasures. Ravi listened but never imagined himself part of anything like that. He was just a human in the corner of the galaxy, fixing machines that nobody noticed until they broke. One evening, after his shift, he sat in his small cabin with a bowl of instant noodles. The hum of the station was the only sound. He scrolled through his datapad, flipping between news, boring ads, and endless chatter from the crew forums. That was when he noticed something new. A glowing icon had appeared in his apps. Starlink Bonds. The name sounded strange. When he opened it, the screen filled with bright colors and strange symbols. After a few seconds, it translated into human words. Ravi blinked. It was some kind of matchmaking app. Not for humans alone, but for anyone in the galaxy. Aliens, travelers, wanderers, even royalty, all looking for bonds of friendship, companionship, or something deeper. Ravi laughed. So this is Space Tinder, he said to himself. He had heard the crew joke about such things, but he never thought it was real. Out of boredom, he created a profile. He used a simple picture of himself: messy hair, oil-stained shirt, tired eyes. He wrote a joke in the description: I fix machines. I eat noodles. I am good at keeping things running, even when they are falling apart. It felt silly. No alien would ever swipe on that. Humans were rare in the galaxy, and not exactly famous for being strong, rich, or powerful. Compared to the tall crystal-skinned warriors or the glowing starborn nobles, a tired technician was nothing. Ravi expected nothing. But then, his datapad beeped. You have a match. Ravi nearly dropped the device. What? Already? He tapped the notification, and a name appeared on the screen. Luma of the Shining Veil. Her picture showed a figure with silver eyes and hair that seemed to shimmer like starlight. She wore royal clothing, and behind her stood golden towers that reached into purple skies. Ravi stared for a long time. This was no ordinary person. She looked like someone from a legend. At first, Ravi thought it was a scam. Maybe a prank. Maybe a bot. He almost deleted the app right there. But before he could, another beep came. A message. Greetings, human. You swiped. You chose. Do you wish to speak with me? Ravi laughed nervously. His fingers hovered over the keypad. This cannot be real, he whispered. But some part of him was curious. So, with shaky hands, he typed back, hello. I did not expect this. I was only joking when I joined. The reply came at once. Your joke has reached across stars. Perhaps the stars enjoy jokes. Ravi sat back, stunned. She was serious. Whoever this Luma was, she was actually talking to him. Their conversation began simple. She asked about humans, about life on a station, about what noodles tasted like. Ravi answered awkwardly, sometimes with humor, sometimes with honesty. To his surprise, she laughed often. She told him that her people rarely joked. To them, words were heavy, always tied to duty and honor. But his words felt light, like fresh air. The more they talked, the stranger it became. Luma explained that among her people, swiping right on the app was not casual. It was considered a declaration of intent, almost like an early step toward partnership. Ravi's heart sank when he read that. He had swiped without thinking, just for laughs. Uh-oh, he muttered. But instead of being angry, Luma seemed delighted. She said his honesty was refreshing, his simple life fascinating. She wanted to know more. She wanted to see him, not just through messages. Ravi felt his chest tighten. He was only a technician, not a hero, not a prince. Why would someone like her care? Yet, when he looked at her glowing eyes on the screen, he could not bring himself to end the conversation. Hours passed. His noodles grew cold. The hum of the station faded into the background. Ravi realized he was smiling, truly smiling, for the first time in months. Before they ended the call, Luma spoke one last line that made his heart jump. You matched with me, human. In my world, that means destiny has chosen us to meet. I will come soon. The screen went dark. Ravi sat frozen, staring at his reflection on the data pad. What had started as a joke now felt like the beginning of something far bigger. He rubbed his eyes and whispered, "What have I gotten myself into?" For the first time, boredom was gone. Replaced by a strange spark of fear, curiosity, and excitement. The next few days were strange for Ravi. Every time he finished work, his mind drifted back to the message from Luma. He had spoken with an alien princess if she truly was a princess, and she had said she would come. It sounded impossible. Why would someone like her travel across the galaxy to meet a technician? Yet her words echoed in his head again and again. On the third night, his data pad beeped once more. A message appeared. I have arrived. May I see you? Ravi's heart skipped a beat. His hands trembled as he typed back, You are here? On the station? The reply came instantly. Yes. I asked the council for permission. Your station welcomed me as a guest of honor. Meet me in the central hall. Ravi's legs felt weak. He checked his reflection in the small mirror. His hair was messy, his shirt had grease stains from work, and his face looked tired. He thought about changing clothes, but there was no time. With a deep breath, he left his cabin and walked quickly toward the central hall. The central hall was a wide open space where travelers gathered, with tall glass windows showing the stars outside. Tonight, however, it was not quiet. People had gathered, whispering and staring. In the center of the hall stood Luma, surrounded by her guards. She was even more dazzling in person. Her silver hair shimmered like liquid light, and her eyes glowed softly, like moons reflecting on water. Her clothes were woven from threads that changed color as she moved, shifting between blue, violet, and silver. The guards beside her wore shining armor, and their spears crackled faintly with energy. Ravi froze at the entrance. He felt like a tiny shadow in front of the sun. One of the guards noticed him and whispered something to Luma. She turned quickly, and when her eyes found Ravi, her face brightened with a smile. Human Ravi, she called, her voice carrying across the hall. You came. Everyone in the hall turned to look at him. Ravi wished the ground would open and swallow him whole. Still, he forced his legs to move. Step by step, he walked toward her. When he stood before her, he bowed awkwardly. Hello, Princess Luma. I did not think you were serious. Her smile widened. I am always serious when it matters. And you may call me Luma. The hall filled with whispers. Nobody dared to interrupt, but everyone watched closely. Luma ignored them and stepped closer. She studied Ravi with curious eyes. You are smaller than I imagined, but your presence feels stronger than your body shows. This is good. Ravi blinked. Smaller? Well, thank you, I guess. She laughed, a soft sound like bells. Do not be afraid. You matched with me. That means we are bound to learn about each other. Ravi scratched his head. About that. I swiped only as a joke. Humans don't treat these apps as destiny. We just use them for fun. Her expression turned thoughtful, but instead of being offended, she nodded. I know. That is what makes you different. My people use the app as sacred. But you used it lightly, and yet you spoke honestly with me. That honesty is rare. It is why I came. The guards looked uneasy, but Luma lifted her hand, and they relaxed. Then she looked back at Ravi. Walk with me. Together, they left the crowd behind and moved toward the great windows. Stars stretched endlessly beyond the glass, glowing like scattered jewels. Ravi tried to calm his shaking hands. So, why me? I mean, you must have hundreds of suitors better than me. I am just a technician. Luma tilted her head, her silver hair flowing like liquid light. Do you know what most suitors say to me? They speak of power, kingdoms, riches. They see me as a crown to claim. But you spoke of noodles. Of broken machines. Of laughter. You treated me not as a princess but as a person. That is why. Ravi was stunned. He never thought simple words could mean so much. He looked at her glowing eyes and felt warmth in his chest. Still, he shook his head. I don't know if I can be what you expect. I'm not strong. I'm not brave. Luma's voice was soft. Strength is not only in muscles. Bravery is not only in battles. Sometimes it is in speaking truth, even when afraid. You are here now, even though you fear. That is bravery. Ravi's face warmed. He wanted to argue, but he could not. She was right. He had come. Silence stretched between them as they looked out at the stars. Then Luma turned, her expression more serious. Among my people, this meeting is important. A match means courtship. But I do not want to frighten you. We can walk slowly, step by step. Will you allow me to know you more? Ravi took a deep breath. His heart still raced, but something inside told him to say yes. All right, he said. We can try. Her smile returned, bright and full of warmth. Good. Then this is our first step. At that moment, Ravi realized his life would never be the same again. He had swiped on a screen for fun, but now he stood beside an alien princess under a sea of stars. The joke had become a journey, and he had no idea where it would lead. The days after their first meeting passed quickly for Ravi. Luma remained on the station as an honored guest, and every evening she asked him to meet her. They walked through the long corridors, shared meals in the mess hall, and sometimes sat in silence near the great windows, watching stars drift by. For Ravi, it was all unreal. He had never spoken to a princess before, let alone an alien princess with silver eyes and guards that glowed like living statues. Yet when she laughed at his small jokes or listened closely to his stories, she felt less like royalty and more like someone who simply wanted a friend. Still, whispers filled the station. The crew could not stop talking. Some admired Ravi, others mocked him quietly, and a few simply shook their heads. A technician and a princess, it sounded like a story out of children's books. Ravi tried to ignore the noise, but deep down he wondered if they were right. One evening, Luma asked him to join her in the central hall again. This time, the place was prepared differently. Banners of shining cloth hung from the walls, and glowing crystals floated in the air, filling the space with soft light. Her guards stood tall at the edges, watching carefully. Ravi entered nervously, wondering what was happening. Luma stood in the center, wearing a gown that shimmered like moonlight. When she saw him, her face brightened with a gentle smile. She stepped forward and lifted her hand. "Ravi," she said softly, "today I must speak with truth before all who watch." Ravi's stomach tightened. The whole hall was watching again, traders, crew members, and dignitaries. He wished he could vanish. But Luma's voice was calm, filled with confidence. She looked around the hall and spoke loudly enough for all to hear. "Among my people, when one chooses a match, it is not a passing thing. It is not a light step. It is a bond. A promise of a future together." This human swiped as a joke, yes, but jokes sometimes carry truth. His words touched me, his honesty moved me, and his spirit is unlike any I have known. Ravi froze in place. He could feel every eye turning toward him. He wanted to protest, to explain that this was all a mistake, but his voice caught in his throat. Then Luma turned back to him. Her silver eyes glowed softly. "Ravi, technician of Orbital Station 12, I offer you my hand. I ask you to stand with me not as servant or subject, but as partner. Will you accept this proposal?" The hall went silent. Ravi felt the weight of the moment pressing on him. His heart pounded. He had only known her for a short time, and everything about her world was strange. He was just a man who fixed broken machines, not a warrior or noble. How could he accept? He opened his mouth, his voice trembling. "Luma, I don't know if I can. I am not worthy. I am not strong like your people. I cannot give you what a princess deserves." Her smile softened, and she stepped closer, so close that only he could hear her next words. "You are wrong. Worth is not measured by crowns or riches. Worth is in the heart. And your heart is true." Ravi swallowed hard. He looked into her glowing eyes and saw no trick, no game. She truly believed in him. That belief made his chest tighten with both fear and warmth. The silence in the hall stretched longer. Ravi could feel the crew staring, waiting for his answer. He could not run away. He had to speak. Finally, with a shaky breath, he said, "I don't know what kind of partner you need, but, if honesty is enough, then yes. I will try. I will stand with you." A wave of sound swept through the hall. Some gasped, some cheered softly, others murmured with surprise. The guards struck their spears against the floor in salute. Luma's face lit with joy, and she lifted his hand high for all to see. "He has accepted," she declared. "From this day forward, Ravi is my chosen." The crystals above flared brighter, filling the hall with dazzling light. Ravi's heart raced. He had spoken without thinking, but now the truth of his words echoed in the air. He was bound to her. After the crowd dispersed, Ravi sat with her near the window again. His hands still shook. "I can't believe what just happened. I said yes in front of everyone." Luma looked at him with gentle eyes. "And you meant it, even if you are afraid. That is all I asked." He rubbed his forehead. I don't know what this means for me. For my life. I'm just, me. Her voice was calm. It means change. It means challenge. But it also means you are no longer alone. Whatever comes, we will face it together. Ravi looked at her, then at the endless sea of stars. For the first time, he felt the weight of a new future pressing down on him. He had accepted her hand, and nothing would ever be the same again. Ravi woke the next morning with a strange heaviness in his chest. The memory of the previous night played again and again in his head. He had stood in front of the whole station, and he had accepted the hand of an alien princess. He still wondered if he had gone mad. A technician like him agreeing to such a thing felt impossible. He rubbed his face, groaned, and whispered, "What have I done?" Before he could gather his thoughts, a soft chime rang from his cabin door. When he opened it, one of Luma's guards stood there, tall and glowing in silver armor. The guard bowed slightly. "Chosen one Ravi, the princess requests your presence in the medical chamber." Ravi blinked. Medical chamber? Why? The guard's glowing eyes shifted. It is tradition. The partner of a Veil princess must receive the bond gift. Come. Ravi's stomach tightened, but he followed. The medical chamber was unlike anything he had seen before. The walls pulsed faintly with light, as if alive, and strange instruments floated in the air, humming gently. At the center stood Luma, her silver gown replaced by simple white robes. She smiled when Ravi entered. "Ravi," she said warmly, "do not be afraid. This is the next step. My people honor those who choose us with a gift. It is not a crown or a jewel, but something far greater. An upgrade." Ravi raised his eyebrows. "Upgrade? I'm not a machine." Her eyes softened. "No, but you are flesh that can be strengthened. This gift is a symbiosis. It will join with you, enhance you, and protect you. It will make you strong enough to walk beside me." Ravi's mouth went dry. "You mean you're going to change me?" Luma stepped closer, placing a hand gently on his arm. "Not change. Complete. You are already enough, Ravi. This gift will simply awaken more of what you carry inside. Will you trust me?" Ravi looked into her glowing eyes. Fear pressed on him, but behind her words he felt no trick, only sincerity. Slowly, he nodded. "All right. I'll trust you." She smiled, then gestured to the healers around them. They guided Ravi onto a reclining chair made of soft crystal. Strange liquid light pooled beneath him. The process began. A sphere of silver fluid floated above him, humming softly. Then it broke into thin streams that touched his skin. At first it felt cool, almost pleasant, but then a wave of heat surged through his body. Ravi gasped, clutching the chair. The fluid sank into his veins, glowing as it spread through him. His heart pounded wildly, his vision blurred, and every muscle felt like fire. He wanted to scream, but Luma held his hand tightly, whispering, "Stay with me. Breathe. You are not alone." Time lost meaning. Pain turned to pressure, and pressure turned to strange clarity. Slowly, Ravi felt his body change. His breathing grew deeper, his muscles steadier. He could hear faint sounds from across the room, the soft hum of the instruments, the quiet heartbeat of Luma herself. His vision sharpened, and colors looked brighter, alive. Finally, the glow faded. Ravi lay trembling, sweat covering his forehead, but the pain was gone. He sat up slowly, surprised by how light he felt. His body no longer felt tired or weak. His arms and legs were stronger, his senses sharper. He looked at his hands, still glowing faintly. What did you do to me? Luma smiled proudly. The symbiotic bond is complete. You are now veil-touched. Faster, stronger, and more enduring. You carry part of my people's legacy within you. Ravi stood carefully, expecting to stumble, but instead his balance was perfect. He clenched his fists, feeling new energy rushing through his veins. It was overwhelming. He turned to Luma, half in awe, half in fear. I don't know if I wanted this. I was fine being just me. She stepped closer, resting her hand against his chest. You are still you, Ravi. The upgrade does not erase you. It only helps you survive the path ahead. Being with me will not be simple. There will be challenges, enemies, and trials. I could not let you face them without strength. Her words sank deep into him. She was right. Already whispers of their bond had spread, and he knew not everyone would welcome it. If danger came, he would need more than clever words. He took a deep breath. So now I'm upgraded. What does that make me? Luma's eyes glowed with pride. It makes you my equal. Ravi's heart pounded again, but not from fear this time. He felt something new, confidence. For so long, he had seen himself as a tired technician, unnoticed and unimportant. But now, standing with Luma, upgraded and chosen, he felt a spark of purpose. The healers bowed, signaling the ritual was complete. The guards saluted him with their spears, no longer looking at him with doubt but with respect. As Ravi and Luma left the chamber together, he glanced at her and whispered, "This is bigger than anything I've ever known. But if I'm your equal now, then I'll do my best to stand beside you." She smiled softly, her silver eyes shining brighter than the stars. "That is all I ask." And so Ravi, once just a technician with greasy hands and tired eyes, walked out as something more. Upgraded, chosen, and bound to a destiny he could never have imagined. The morning sun reflected off the windows of Orbital Station 12, painting long streaks of light across the central hall. Ravi stood beside Luma, feeling the energy of the symbiotic upgrade still flowing through him. Today, he would face the trials that his new role demanded. Luma's people had a tradition: a chosen partner must prove their worth. It was not about wealth or rank, but courage, wisdom, and compassion. Ravi had never faced anything like this before. He was used to machines, not tests that measured his spirit. "Do not worry," Luma said softly, placing her hand on his shoulder. "These trials are not meant to break you. They are meant to show what you carry inside. Remember who you are." Ravi nodded, though his stomach was tight. He followed her and her guards to a large chamber at the far end of the station. The doors opened, revealing a vast arena that floated in zero gravity. Lights and platforms shifted in midair, creating paths that seemed impossible to cross. A tall figure emerged from the shadows. It was the trial master, a humanoid with silver eyes like Luma's but older and wiser. "Ravi of Earth," he said in a deep, echoing voice. "You stand before the trials of worth. You will face 3 challenges: strength, wisdom, and compassion. Fail any, and your bond may not be accepted. Begin." Ravi's heart raced, but he stepped forward. The first challenge appeared: a moving platform high above the ground, suspended over a deep pit. Floating spheres of energy moved between platforms, and he needed to jump across without falling. At first, fear gripped him. His legs shook as he measured the distance. Then he remembered Luma's words. Remember who you are. He focused, letting the symbiotic upgrade guide his balance. With careful steps, he leapt from platform to platform, timing each jump perfectly. The final leap landed him safely on solid ground. His heart pounded, but he had passed the first trial. The second challenge appeared immediately. A holographic puzzle filled the air. Floating symbols and alien scripts rotated endlessly, forming a complex maze of logic. Ravi had never seen anything like it. He scratched his head, feeling panic rise, but then he began looking for patterns. He remembered how he fixed machines, step by step, patiently, observing every detail. Slowly, the symbols aligned. He solved the puzzle by noticing small repetitions and connecting them in sequence. The holograms blinked green, signaling success. Ravi breathed deeply. Strength was one thing, but wisdom required calm, something he had always relied on. The final challenge was the hardest. A small creature, frightened and injured, appeared on the platform. It was strange, with translucent skin and tiny glowing wings. The trial master's voice boomed, "This is the test of compassion. Help it survive, but beware. Some will tempt you to ignore it for easier success." Ravi approached cautiously. The creature looked at him with wide, frightened eyes. He knelt, speaking softly, even though it might not understand. Using what he had learned from fixing machines and caring for living beings on the station, he gently lifted the creature and examined its injuries. A guard nearby suggested ignoring the creature and stepping forward, but Ravi shook his head. "I cannot leave it." He carefully repaired the creature's wing using a small device from his belt. The wing healed, glowing softly. The creature chirped, nuzzling his hand. A green light spread across the arena, confirming he had passed the final test. The trial master nodded, a rare smile crossing his face. "Ravi of Earth, you have passed the trials of worth. You possess strength, wisdom, and compassion. You are ready to stand beside Luma as her chosen partner." Luma stepped forward, her silver eyes bright with pride. She held out her hand. "You did well, Ravi. I knew you had it inside, but I am glad the trials proved it. My people will see that my choice was wise." Ravi felt a mixture of relief and pride. The trials had tested everything about him, and he had passed. But more than that, he had discovered a new confidence. He was not just a technician anymore. He was a partner, capable of meeting challenges he had never imagined. The guard saluted him, the crystal floor glowing under his feet. For the first time, Ravi felt respected not because of his job or station rank, but because of who he was. Luma smiled and whispered, "Come, let us leave this place. Your journey is only beginning, and many more challenges await. But for today, you have proven yourself." As they walked together back to the station's main corridors, Ravi glanced at the stars outside. His life had changed completely. A joke on a space app had led him here. He had met a princess, been chosen, upgraded, and now had proven his worth. The thought was overwhelming, but for the first time, Ravi felt ready. Whatever the galaxy had in store, he knew he could face it. And as he walked beside Luma, he realized he did not want to face it alone. The future was uncertain, but Ravi's heart was steady. He had taken his first steps into a life far larger than anything he had known, and he was beginning to feel a part of something greater than himself. The day of the union arrived, and Orbital Station 12 felt alive with anticipation. Traders, crew members, and visitors from nearby sectors gathered in the grand central hall. The ceiling shimmered with artificial constellations, and floating lights reflected across the walls like falling stars. For Ravi, the sight was breathtaking, but his nerves were stronger than awe. He stood beside Luma at the center of the hall, feeling the warmth of her presence. She wore a gown of silver and violet threads, glimmering as though woven from the very stars outside. Her hair flowed like liquid light, and her eyes shone with quiet confidence. She turned to him and smiled. "Are you ready, Ravi?" Ravi swallowed hard. I think so. I just hope I do everything right." Luma laughed softly. "You have done everything right so far. Now, we simply share this moment with those who witness it." The crowd fell silent as the elder of the Vale appeared. He was tall and regal, with long silver hair and eyes that glowed softly. In his hand, he held a staff adorned with luminous crystals. His voice echoed across the hall. "Today, we gather to honor the bond between Ravi of Earth and Luma of the Shining Veil. This union is more than a ceremony. It is a joining of hearts, minds, and spirits across worlds." Ravi's hands trembled slightly, but Luma's steady gaze calmed him. He realized that he had never stood in front of so many eyes, and yet he did not feel small. The trials he had faced, the upgrades he had received, and the trust Luma had placed in him gave him courage he had never known. The elder motioned, and streams of light rose from the floor, forming a radiant circle around Ravi and Luma. The glowing threads wove around them, wrapping in delicate patterns that shimmered and pulsed with energy. Ravi reached out, taking Luma's hand. The moment their fingers touched, a warmth spread through him, unlike anything he had felt before. The elder's voice continued, steady and strong. "In this bond, both parties share strength, honor, and devotion. Let this light bear witness to your commitment." Ravi's chest tightened. He felt a strange sensation, as though the energy within him, awakened by the upgrade, responded to Luma's presence. He could feel her thoughts and emotions in a subtle, gentle way. Excitement, hope, and trust flowed toward him, and in response, he sent his own feelings, honesty, care, and determination. The light surrounding them intensified. Floating crystals spun in circles above their heads, reflecting the glow onto the faces of the crowd. Every eye was on them, yet Ravi felt that only Luma existed in the moment. The elder raised his staff, and a wave of energy washed over the circle. It wrapped around Ravi and Luma, connecting them in an invisible bond. Ravi could feel the strength of the connection. It was more than magic or technology, it was a sharing of being. His heartbeat seemed to match hers, and a calm certainty filled him. "Do you, Ravi of Earth, take Luma of the Shining Veil as your chosen partner?" the elder asked. Ravi looked into Luma's glowing eyes. Her trust and belief in him gave him courage. He straightened, took a deep breath, and said clearly, "I do. I choose to stand with you, now and always." The elder then turned to Luma. "Do you, Luma of the Shining Veil, take Ravi of Earth as your chosen partner?" Luma smiled, a warmth in her silver eyes. "I do. I choose him, and I trust him to walk beside me through whatever comes." At that moment, the light above them reached its peak, glowing so brightly that Ravi instinctively shielded his eyes. When the glow faded, the bond remained. He felt a steady pulse of connection in his chest, a reminder that he and Luma were now truly joined. The crowd erupted in cheers. Some clapped, others bowed, but all eyes were filled with wonder. Ravi looked at Luma, and she laughed softly. "We did it," she whispered. Ravi nodded, his voice catching slightly. Yes, we did. As they stepped down from the circle, Luma leaned closer. This bond will not be simple, Ravi. There will be challenges ahead. But we face them together. You are no longer alone. Ravi's heart swelled. He thought of the long journey from swiping on a joke app to this moment. Everything had led to this: the laughter, the fears, the upgrades, the trials. Now he felt ready. I will stand with you, Luma. Always. The elder approached one last time, placing his staff gently on the floor. Let this union be remembered as the joining of worlds, of courage, and of hearts. May your bond inspire all who witness it. Ravi looked at the glowing symbols floating around them. He realized he was no longer just a technician, no longer an outsider. He was part of something larger, a story that spanned stars and species, a life shared with someone who believed in him. As the ceremony ended and the crowd dispersed, Luma took his hand and led him to the observation balcony. The stars stretched endlessly, brilliant and alive. Ravi felt a quiet certainty. His life had changed forever. He was chosen. He was bonded. And standing beside Luma, he knew that together, they could face anything the galaxy sent their way. Weeks passed since the union, and life on Orbital Station 12 felt different for Ravi. He no longer moved through the station as a simple technician. People treated him with respect, recognizing him not just for his work, but for the bond he shared with Luma. The symbiotic upgrade still hummed softly in his veins, a constant reminder of his new strength and responsibilities. Ravi had learned much in this short time. He had explored Luma's world.